This is PJ Muir welcoming you back for our next lecture entitled The Fireproof Law Firm. Please welcome Mike Morse.
Okay. It was 3 a.m. and the phone rang and woke me up out of a deep sleep, which was strange because I usually keep my phone off at night. I sat up in bed, my heart was racing, I started sweating. Next thing I knew, I was in my car, racing down the highway, afraid what I was about to see. It was a hot July morning, the windows were down, and as I was exiting on Southfield Road to see my office, it was the first time I smelled the bitter smell of smoke. When I turned down the street where my office was, I could see the flashing lights of the fire trucks. I knew it was bad. I pulled into my parking lot and I saw firefighters running around trying to put out the flames. My secretary, Lori, who was also called by the fire department, came up and grabbed me, and we sat there and we wept. My brand new office building that I had only been in for a short time was burning down. As the sun was starting to come up, I started thinking about my clients and the workday ahead and how my lawyers who had motions on a Friday in just a couple of hours, how are they going to get their files? What about my new potential clients calling the firm? And what about my existing clients? I will get back to that later. That was not the worst fire I have ever experienced. A couple of years later, I'm in my office and my cell phone rang. It was the guy that sent me 70% of my auto, truck, and motorcycle business. And he had never called my cell phone before. I answered my phone and he said, "We need to meet today." I knew immediately that another fire was brewing. He had never been to my building before, despite sending me business for over 10 years. My entire firm's foundation was built on this person's referrals. We had sent him over $20 million in referral fees in over 10 years. We poured our hearts and soul into his cases. There was never a Saturday where there weren't paralegals and lawyers working on his referrals. To say that I was indebted would be an understatement. He came into my office, he sat down on my couch, he looked at me in the eyes and he said, "I have news for you. We're not sending you any more business." He might have said a couple more things, got up and left. I remember sitting down, putting my face in my hand, thinking, what the hell just happened? He dropped this bomb with no reason, complete betrayal. I felt ashamed. I felt kicked to the ground. I felt humiliated. Did I have to start laying off people right now? How was I going to tell my staff that we just got fired from the 900-pound gorilla who's been sending us cases for over 10 years through no fault of their own? Both of these fires were painful, but like all fires, they cleared the way for something new. Our success that followed these fires made us feel invincible. My name is Michael Morse. I'm from Detroit. I own and run the largest personal injury firm here in Michigan with 170 employees, and we do about $160 million a year in settlements and verdicts. And I'm really happy to be here to share with you how I overcame these fires and came up with a systematic approach to fireproof any law firm, and at the same time experience explosive growth. I want you to imagine me for a moment. Imagine that you only took a handful of calls from clients every week. And what if you were able to sleep a full night without waking up wondering where that next case was going to be coming from? And what if you could experience 25% growth year after year after year, and at the same time, working less or working on exactly what you wanted? These were the questions we asked ourselves after that fire, and we decided to do something about it. We decided to do something to make us fireproof, which also means COVID-proof or tornado-proof. We developed systems and processes to grow our practice. We developed a systematic approach to running a law firm. We wanted a written down roadmap to put out the daily fires while holding all of our employees accountable. And by the way, that Friday morning of my fire, we were up and running and answering new calls in the parking lot within 2 hours. And by Monday morning, we were in a brand new office. And within a month, after that lawyer fired us and stopped sending us all that business, we were on TV with fantastic new commercials within 30 days. We were able to start controlling our own destiny. No more relying on other people to fill up our filing cabinets with new cases. And today, I no longer worry about where that next case is coming from. We get over 25,000 calls a year from people seeking our services. And today, my lawyers, all 45 of them, have smaller dockets with more support staff, allowing them to be more proactive on their files. And our settlements, the year of the fire was about 17.5 million. And 11 years later, they were 9 times larger at 160 million. Our profit has gone up 25% every year. And all I do all day, every day, are things that I love to do and things that I'm great at. And after many years of hard work, my team and I have a roadmap for fireproofing law firms. And I'm going to share with you today a couple of the principles, 2 of the 5 principles that will fireproof your law firms and set it up for fantastic growth. Let's dive in. Law number 1 is to know thyself. For the first 12 years of my practice, I did everything. I brought in the cases, I signed them up, I did every deposition, every trial, hired everybody, bought the furniture, went to Costco to get the coffee and the paper, did everything. And I'm sure many of you in this room did the same thing. I wrote the checks, I did everything. I was a true solo. I managed to find some good employees, but I couldn't do any more. I was hitting the ceiling, as we like to say. I was in the middle of everything. I had 20 employees, and they were all reporting to me like this picture here on this PowerPoint. I was making pretty good money, but I was burning out. Because of this, everybody coming to me for questions, I hired my first business coach, Gino Wickman, and he said to me, come to my office on Thursday. We're going to spend 8 hours together and bring your leadership or your executive team click. And I looked around and I didn't have a team. I had 20 direct reports. So I gathered 3 people who had been there the longest with me, and we went to our first session. One of the first things we did in that first session was go through our organizational chart. Not only didn't I have an organizational chart, I had never heard of an organizational chart. They didn't teach us that in law school. So my epiphany number 1 was after I learned what an organizational chart was and how messed up my organization was. In one day, I eliminated 50% of my burden. The 3 people that I brought with me one was a paralegal, one was a lawyer, and one was a secretary. And while they're sitting there listening to my story, how I had 20 direct reports all coming to me and I couldn't do any more. We were never going to grow. We were never going to be able to help more people. We were never going to make more money. Each one of them said, Michael, my paralegal Jan said, what if I had all the paralegals come to me from now on? And Mark Mendelson, 19 years still with me, said, what if all the lawyers would come to me? And my secretary, Lori, said, Michael, what if all the secretaries come to me? In that short meeting, 50% of my workload and burden and questions came off the table, left my shoulders. This is what my world looked like. I was the CEO. I had 3 managers, and all my employees were under those people. Most law firms that we coach around this country don't do this. And once they do it, it sets them up to have unbelievable growth. Epiphany number 2 was learning whether or not I was a visionary or an integrator. Again, 2 words I had never heard of. 2 things they never taught us in law school, but it's a really important point, hugely important. One is not better than the other. We have completely different skill sets. And you need both, in my opinion, to run a great law firm and to scale. So here's some examples of what a visionary is. I am a true visionary, and I'm sure there's lots of visionaries in this room. Visionaries have powerful imaginations, clear ideas. They like to create. They have a million ideas a day. They like to learn. They're fantastic with important clients. They're entrepreneurial. How many visionaries are in this room? Few hands. The next part of the equation is a integrator. My integrator, John Knockhazel, is sitting in the front row running this PowerPoint. John has these qualities. He harmoniously unites major functions of a business. He keeps the trains running on time. He creates focus, accountability, and alignment. He's my right hand, my number 2, my steady force. With John taking care of all the things that I don't like to do or didn't want to do, I was freed up to be in my sweet spot all of the time. All day, every day, I could work on marketing my firm, developing our biggest cases, mentoring my litigators, fostering our culture, building big relationships outside of the firm. When I realized this, when this epiphany came, my firm has doubled every year. But today, I still only have 1 direct report. So here's just you can go back, John. I'll just do this real quick. These are 3 examples of visionaries and integrators. These are not made up terms, right? I thought they were. But Henry Ford came up with the idea of the car, and James Couzens, the one who got it done. Ray Kroc came up with McDonald's. Fred Turner got it done. And Walt Disney was the big idea visionary, and his brother, Roy, made it happen. This is documented. And this is how we run our law firm. And the most successful law firms in the country have a visionary and an integrator. So my world today looks like this. I'm the visionary. John is my integrator who does everything I don't want to do. His direct reports are head of marketing and sales, head of paralegals, head of lawyers, head of secretaries, head of finance and administration, and a couple of others. But you could see my world didn't change. And as I doubled in size to 170 employees, this is what my world looks like now. But if you look at it, my world hasn't changed. I still only have 1 direct report. When we go around the country and we meet these really successful lawyers and they're doing a million things, it's because they're not set up the right way. I talked to one on the phone yesterday in Florida. He's got 200 files. He's the visionary. He's the chief marketing officer, and on and on and on. How do you get anything done? And he's struggling and he can't scale. This is why. And I'll tell you, if you could set up your firms that way, your lives will be wonderful. Takeaways from law number 1, find your team. Are you a visionary or integrator? And learn how to delegate and elevate yourself. Law number 3, Jumbotron. So we've all been to sporting events and we've all seen these Jumbotrons. Totally visible for everybody to see. But you ever think of why? Why are the coaches and the players staring up there at all times? To see themselves score the touchdowns or whatever? No. The idea of playing these sports is to win. And in order to win, they need to make the right decisions. So to do so, you need to make the right play, just like in our law firms. They need to know how many yards they need to get and how many downs and how many timeouts. And do they got to go for 2 or 1 or a touchdown? You need the right players on the field at all time. You need real-time information to win the game. During sports, you take this all for granted because the Jumbotron is staring at you in the face. But can you imagine playing a game, a sporting event, without a Jumbotron? What kind of chaos would be on that field? So I'm going to show you my Jumbotron for my law firm in 2007. Well, imagine a black screen right there because I think we deleted it. But there's a black screen. I didn't have a Jumbotron in 2007. And it's embarrassing. But most law firms that we are called in to help don't have a Jumbotron, don't know their numbers, don't have a scorecard, can't tell me anything. Our Jumbotron tells us, are we ahead or behind annual revenue goals? How many cases do we settle? How much do we settle it for? What is our averages? How much money is in the pipeline? How many new calls did we get last week? How many cases did we sign up? Where did the cases come from? How many lawsuits did we file last week? How much referral money came in? Is year-to-date payroll favorable to the budget? Now, this is a quick start Jumbotron that you can get for free on my website, fireproofperformance.com. This, you could plug in your numbers, but this is simple. I don't know if you could see it, but it tells you attorney fees paid and number of settlements and new calls, and it gets you started. John built this out through Excel, and it's free to you, and you should use it just to get started, to get your juices flowing, because you need to know your numbers. In a little space, you can gain valuable insight on your situation and what plays you should call. Now that I know my numbers, I make better, faster, and more informed decisions. I don't have to guess. I say, John, what does the data show? I take bold actions with greater confidence and no fear. And many people can help you set this up, but you need to look at these numbers. Here's another one page of my scorecard. I have 20 pages on my Jumbotron, but this is interesting, I think, to show this is an actual Jumbotron. The names of the lawyers were blocked out. But what this shows you is my goal for year 2018 was $160 million. And we break down goals for all of my lawyers. And then there's weekly goals. And then what did they do? Are they green? Did they make their number? Are they orange? Are they red? And then I see what their year-to-date total is. Are they plus or minus a year-to-date target? And what's our percentage of target? In one piece of paper, I know how we're doing. I know how my lawyers are doing. I have lawyers call me, I'm not sure this lawyer is working very hard. I say, well, what does the data show? How much are they doing? How many hours are they billing? How much money are they bringing in? How many hours are they working? I don't know. This form that I look at every Tuesday morning at 8:30 in my executive meeting tells me exactly what I need to know. I like to think of it as, let's say I'm sitting on a desert island and I get to have one piece of paper faxed to me on that desert island. I want to know what on that paper will help me decide if I need to hop on the plane and fly home or I could stay for another week. When you're looking at your data and you're looking at your numbers and you're building out your Jumbotron, that's what you need to be thinking about. What's important in my business to know? And so many people just know, like myself, is there money in the bank account that I can make payroll, that I can buy a new copy machine? That's how I ran for 12 years. I get it. But now that I know my data, my business has exploded. So the other thing we do at our firm is we project what we're going to make throughout the year. So on January 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, John comes up with a projection, a forecast, he calls it, what the end of the year is going to look like. And in 2018, on January 2nd, he says, we're going to do $160 million in settlements. Some of my lawyers bet him that he was wrong. And on December 31st at 4:50 p.m., we came in at $160,001,788.73. Astonishing. And the cases were not all 10, 20, $30 million cases. The average case is $100,000, $120,000. And he was able to use averages. And I think we have some of the slides to show some of the things. He knows the timing of disbursement. So I don't care what kind of lawyer you are, your money comes in at different times, whether you're a bankruptcy or a divorce or criminal or business, your money comes in at different times, but it's all based on averages. Next. This tells us what our pods are doing and if they're making their goals and if they're not making their goals, but these numbers also are very, very important. So get yourself a Jumbotron. Now, when Mark asked me to speak, he said, we want you to teach what you don't learn in law school. And here's an analogy that I want you guys to think about really hard when you're thinking about, should I spend the time? Should I get a coach? Should I learn about how to run my law firm better? Or should I just keep doing it the way I've been doing it? If a big case comes into your law firm, a big one, the one that's going to make you either famous or millions of dollars, or that big high profile case, does it just walk in the door and you throw it over your shoulder to some associate and say, go deal with it? Hell no. What do? You plan. You set goals. You brainstorm. You bring a team together. You set metrics. You set timelines. You set to-dos or ticklers or whatever you want to call it. You spend a lot of time on it. One case. Why don't you do that for your law firms? And I know many, if not most of you don't, because I didn't. And I talked to so many lawyers that it's just a fact. So spend the time that you would spend on that big case on your law firm. Do things like setting goals. We set a 3-year picture in January. Every year we update it. So our 3-year picture may look like, what do we want in 3 years? Well, I want to have effective teams. I want referral income covering my advertising and marketing spend. I want a robust referral network. I want great employees all sitting in the right seats. Bigger cases for bigger dollars. Perfect processes followed by all. I want to be the best law firm to work for in Michigan. And the Mike Morse Foundation is making an impact on our community. And we want to have a cutting edge technology. These are actual goals that I set in my firm. And I say in 3 years, all of these are going to be true. I take the time, I do this, and we look at it quarterly. And we set goals and shorter goals of 90 days to get these things done. If you don't do this, it's never going to happen. If you don't have wishes and goals, your firms will not improve. Our 1-year goal, 1 year, we say, okay, we want to settle cases of 150 million. We want to sign up 1,820 cases. We want to increase the average value of our case by 15%. We want systems for early evaluation of cases, and we want to become a tech-driven company. 1-year goal. So by the end, this is actually a couple years old because we're now signing up more than this. And then my whole year, I'm thinking about these goals. So on January 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, I say, this is what we're going to do. And I go to my team, and I did this yesterday. I have 170 employees, and I stood there and I said, guys, this is our goals for 2022. And this is how we're going to get there. And if I have 170 people rowing in the same direction, I'm going to get there. That's why you have to share your vision and share your goals. You have to have robust meetings with your team. Every single person in my office, all 170 of them, are in meetings. Every meeting has an agenda. Every meeting starts and stops on time. And it happens, and nobody complains about bad meetings. This is my agenda. We check in for 5 minutes. We go over our Jumbotron for 10 minutes. We talk about our 90 days, what everybody on that team has to get done in the next 90 days to make those goals happen. We talk about clients or employee headlines. We talk about ticklers. And I gave John a task to do last week. Did he get it done? That's how you get traction. If you don't keep track, you're not going to get it done. And then we discuss any issue in the firm for the next 60 minutes every single week. That's how my firm has doubled from 20 people to 170 people. Takeaways from this section: you got to set goals, you align and have accountability, you have meetings, which equals, what's that? Goals plus meetings equal alignment and accountability. Thank you, John. He wrote that slide. What's the next one? Okay, couple more slides and I'm going to get out of your hair. If you are convinced that you want some more information about how to become fireproof, you should read our book called Fireproof. Fireproofperformance.com. If you put your your email address in there, you're going to get a free Jumbotron. You're going to get a white paper for about 5 solid reasons to track your numbers, another white paper about marketing and advertising, and you're going to get a free intro to the Fireproof book. The last thing I want to share with you guys is another benefit for being fireproof and organized and running your law firms like a business is that you get to work on your passions in life. And one of my passions in life is teaching and bringing new ideas and solutions to law firms. And John and I are doing it now 50% of their time. We want to help them grow and scale and to be able to withstand fires and COVID and tornadoes and the like. And if you'd like to learn more, we're having a masterclass soon for smaller firms, and we'll send you information if you put your email on our website. But another reason to become fireproof would be different for everybody in this room. Everybody has their why. Why are you guys working so darn hard? Why are you here to learn how to make your law firms better? And for everybody, again, it's different. Is it for the money? Is it for generational wealth? Is it to help people? Sitting in law school, I never thought I would be able to make a difference outside of helping my clients. So besides helping law firms, I wanted to help the kids in Detroit and bring them backpacks. Every single kid full of supplies to level the playing field. So every kid had supplies they needed to win in the classroom and to win in life. And since 2000, in the last 8-9 years, we've delivered over 200,000 backpacks stuffed with supplies, and we're just getting started. We have 7 other law firms in other states using our program so they can help kids as well. This is our mission, to level the playing field. And this dream became a reality because our firm is fireproof. Now, this commercial that I'm about to run, and then I'm done, is an actual letter from a grandmother named Sherry Lawrence, who took the time to write me a handwritten letter. Not only did I cry when I read this letter, I well up with tears and get goosebumps every time I watch this commercial. My team contacted her. She did the voiceover for this commercial. And she wrote me that she believes that because I gave her granddaughter a backpack 6 years in a row, that she did well in school, she got into college, and that this helped her win. And I'm having goosebumps just saying it. And this is my why. And I encourage you all to not only get fireproof, but figure out your why.
The beginning of the school year has arrived for Detroit Public Schools, and Summer Lawrence, my granddaughter, will embrace the 6th grade. Last year, Summer was a recipient of the awesome school supplies and backpack donated by you. Supplies needed to allow her and so many other Detroit students to excel academically. I never underestimate the impact you've made in her life today and forever. It is a gift to be cherished and used for the purpose provided by you to achieve success without barriers. Please accept a copy of Summer's 5th grade report card and certificates, evidence of her achievement. The billboards proudly proclaim, "Mike wins. It's true." My granddaughter won this round and will have many more thanks to you. Sincerely, Sherry Lawrence.